remembers how sometimes walking the hollow side was fairly easy. Him traveling a bench, or if not, it wasn't all that steep anyway. He was used to walking hillsides like that. At times he'd hit a cliff or a rock overhang where he'd have to climb up above it to get around. The red rubber boots are slippery in two ways. Their soles sliding on the ground and his feet slippery inside the boots, and the skin rubs and blisters up, he can feel it. The legs aren't cold anymore now that the main part of his body is covered, and the dog sticks close. He hasn't lost him yet, and Bucky stays up high. Down at the bottom, where he tries not to look, but can't help not, he sees live people moving. They mill around, sifting through wreckage as far as he can tell, and their very liveness down there makes it all look more ruined. On the hollow side below Bucky, other people have already cobbled together makeshift shelters from the cold rain, and on the far side of the hollow, a few campfires he sees, smoke smudges and tiny bursty flames. He feels the torn skin up and down his legs and bruises in his hands. The black taste still clogs his throat, the pressure to spit. His nose is running non-stop and his sleeve reaches up again and again and wipes it on his own. He's moving fast and easy along an unclaimed bench under a high wall strip when he meets his first live person. The man pulls himself up on the level some 50 feet distant from Bucky, and then he's coming at him. Bucky panics. It's like he's been gone from people for 20 years, and the man comes on. They pull closer to each other, the collapse of in between, and then Bucky stops, his legs tensed, and he almost steals off the edge of the bench, flees, but the man comes. As soon as he gets near enough, the man calls, "Hey, buddy, you seen Martha Atkins?" His voice is thin, tattery, and high, and Bucky can hear that it is already an old question. The man is only rain wet, no black on him, and he wears all his clothes. The rain has twisted his long brown hair into little tails, and when he gets even closer, Bucky sees that under the patchy beard, the man is pretty young. The man doesn't show a second of surprise or even curiosity over Bucky's blackness, or his lost pants, or the woman's boots. Bucky is already like the question, an old sight. When the man speaks, Bucky shakes his head. "It's my mommy," the man keeps on, 50 years old. Dark brown hair stays up there at Lundale. She's missing these teeth. The man drops his jaw and grabs a couple bottom teeth on one side. "Sorry, I don't know her," Bucky says. He hasn't spoken, not even to the dog, since he was on the chicken house roof, and now his voice crossing his teeth makes his teeth feel funny. "How about a little boy around 6, blonde-headed?" Bucky shakes his head. "Latricia, she's 16, blonde-headed too, heavyset girl." "I ain't seen nobody at all," Bucky says. The man pauses. Not like he's taking the time to feel disappointment, and just seems to rest. Then he nods. "Thank you," he says, and then he hurries past on up the hollow. Not too long after that, Bucky passes a bunch of people holed up in a lean-to not far under him, close enough that they could spot him if they wanted to. But if they look any place, they look into the valley, not behind them. He can hear a little kid crying, sees two men trying to shelter each other to light a cigarette. Bucky keeps moving, and the men don't hear his boots in the leaves. It begins to snow, big, wet, flat flakes, kind of snow you get on just that other side of rain, and below the watermark, where Bucky has to walk near it, he can watch them fall stark white on the black. For an instant you can see them, then the black sops them under. Twice more, he runs into men looking for somebody. Bucky just shakes his head and goes on. One of the men has an arm so broken, Bucky can tell it from yards away, even though he's never seen an unset broken arm in his life. And now and again he stops, sits, and pulls off the boots, feels at his feet, but there's nothing he can do for them. The first blisters have already busted, and cold dirt got in the sores, and already a second layer, a third of fresh blisters coming on. As he walks, he watches the bottom more deliberately, tries to reckon where he is. Downstream here, the valley is still wrecked, but it is less scraped bare. More stuff stands where it should. He even sees a couple people trying to drive pickups in it. Then, not paying attention, he comes over the top of a gully too quick and finds himself at the edge of a crowd of people around a big fire. He starts to angle back above them and slip away, but they spot him and holler for him to come here. "Hey, come on down. Come on down in here, honey, they call. Come on now, we got to tell you something. Despite himself, Bucky drags a little. It's not just the urge in their tone, it's how he's been raised to obey grown-ups. And listen, sugar, one insists, it's dangerous. Get on down here, you hear? When he finally does give in, though, it is mostly because the dog goes first. As soon as he's within the heat ring thrown by the foul-smelling fire, a voice warns, "Second dam's going to blow. They say this one will be worse than the first. You better stick close here." He's in a commotion of more than a dozen panicked or numb people, most of them staring at him, and he heaps with self-consciousness over his naked legs, the barely covered underwear, all the new voices, the new faces like confetti in his head. The fire gushes a greasy black smoke, nasty odor, and what are they burning? Tires, ties, plastic? Big ash flakes funneling up off it, clashing with the snowflakes funneling down. The women who'd been hollering at him loudest, the most persistent, is saying, "Lord have mercy, you went through it, didn't you? And here we are without even any water to wash you off with." She's in a big puffy coat, her body under that puffy too, like angel food cake. In Bucky's head, the glob of people starts to divide into individuals. Him seeing now that some are fully clothed, others stripped and blackened and huddled in blankets somebody's fetched up. And Bucky notices most a man wrapped in a pink quilt on the far side of the fire. Bucky drawn to something funny about him, but Bucky can't place what the funny is. "Oh," the puffy woman is saying, "wish we could get down in the house and find you a pair of pants." And somewhere past her he hears a man, "I couldn't even tell how many bodies I seen hung up in that bridge abutment." The people continue to divide out like cells, and Bucky recognizes two kids from the school bus whose names he knew yesterday but not today. And he notices a stringy-headed woman waddled in her throat who's counting everybody over and over again. 1 to 17, she does a round every 3 or 4 minutes, and when she hits 17, she crows, her voice nearly cheerful. "Well, we're all here. We're all still here." Bucky watches the man in the pink quilt, studying on what's funny. "Believe I'll just go on down and get you them pants," the angel food lady is saying. "Mommy," it's a teenage girl, "what if it breaks when you're in there?" "Well, now I'd hear it, and it wouldn't become so fast I couldn't get back up here." The gray flakes, the snow ash. A woman lies curled under a blanket, not pink. A second woman sitting beside her, holding her hands. Bucky turns back to the pink quilt man, studying on it. 17, the stringy-headed woman crows. "Well, we're all still here." "Why, that's Dooley Taylor's boy," a man's voice now. "What are you doing up here above Brayholme, buddy? Why ain't you home?" "That's Dooley Taylor's boy." He's speaking to the angel food lady. "I work with his daddy." There's a little girl won't come out of her mother's coat. You can see nothing but her legs under the hem. Screams if the coat falls open. "Mr. Robert's going down and get you them pants," the angel food lady is saying. "He works with your daddy." "Well, we're all still here." Bucky studies the pink quilt man, the something funny worrying him like a briar in his thumb. It had to have been the number 3 went that much water. There can't be more water left up there than what just come down. "Well, Grady, I don't know. Who knows what all they got up there. I wouldn't take no chances." The pillowy snowflakes falling on Bucky's face, an open-mouthed cold kiss. 17, we're all still here.